Welcome to another video by IELTSclassesonline.com. In this video, we will share samples of Academic Writing Task 1.
Hello students. In this video, we will write 5 academic tasks 1. We will show line graphs, bar graph, and a map. All of these have come in the recent IELTS tests.
We have another video on our YouTube channel where the Task 1 is explained in detail. Different types of Task 1 images are discussed, and we have explained in detail how to write the introduction, the overview, and the body paragraphs, the relevant vocabulary and phrases, and many other points. You can refer to that video if you want to learn the basics of how to write Academic Task 1. The video is in English as well as Hindi. The links are given in the description.
Let us begin with the first sample.
You should spend about 20 minutes on this task. The line graphs below show the production and demand for steel in million tons in the UK in 2010. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features, and make comparisons where relevant. You should write at least 150 words.
Pause the video and write your own response, then see our response.
The graph illustrates the demand and production of steel over the year 2010, measured in million tons, and highlights variations in both production and demand over the year. Overall, steel production generally exceeds demand throughout the year, except in December when demand catches up and even exceeds production. In January, steel production starts at 4,000 million tons, while the demand begins at around 2,000 million tons. Production peaks in February at 5,000 million tons, while demand rises only by 1,000 to 3,000 million tons in March. From March to July, production remains relatively stable at 4,000 million tons. However, in the same period, demand fluctuates tremendously from under 2,000 in May to just shy of reaching 3,000 million tons in June, and gradually dropping to 2,000 million tons in August. On the other hand, production, which was at nearly 3,100 million tons in August, sees another peak in September at nearly 5,000 million tons before declining steadily to 1,000 million tons by December. Conversely, demand peaks at 2,500 million tons in September, and falls to 1,000 million tons in November, becomes nearly zero, and then rises sharply to 2,000 million tons in December.
The graph below gives information about the percentage of the population in 4 Asian countries living in cities from 1970 to 2020. With predictions for 2030 and 2040. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and making comparisons where relevant.
The graph illustrates the percentage of city dwellers in 4 Asian countries, Philippines, Malaysia, Thailand, and Indonesia, from 1970 to 2020, with projections for the years 2030 and 2040. Overall, the graph indicates a steady trend of increasing urbanization in these countries, with Malaysia and Indonesia showing the most significant growth both historically and in future projections. In 1970, the city population in all 4 countries was below 40%. Malaysia had the highest urbanization rate, slightly above 30%, while Thailand and Indonesia had rates below 20%. Over the next 5 decades, urban residents increased in all countries, with significant growth in Malaysia, where the urban population rose to nearly 70% by 2020. The Philippines experienced steady growth, reaching 45% urban inhabitants by 2020. Thailand and Indonesia also saw increases, with Thailand's urban community reaching about 31%, and Indonesia's approaching 30%. Future projections suggest continued growth in urbanization. By 2040, Malaysia is expected to have a non-rural population exceeding 80%, the highest among the four countries. Indonesia's city residence percentage is projected to reach about 60%, while the Philippines and Thailand are expected to see theirs grow to around 55% and 40%, respectively.
The chart below shows the number of households in the US by their annual income in 2007, 2011, and 2015. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and making comparisons where relevant.
The bar chart presents the number of US households, in millions, categorized by annual income for the years 2007, 2011, and 2015. Overall, while the number of low-income households fluctuated, there was a notable increase in the number of households earning $100,000 or more over the period. In the year 2007, the number of homes earning less than $25,000 was 25 million. This category saw an increase in its numbers to nearly 30 million in 2011, but slumped to around 26 million in 2015. Those earning $25,000 to $49,999 were only slightly better than the previous group, with their population fluctuating around 25 million, 30 million, and 28 million in 2007, 2011, and 2015 respectively. Interestingly, the population clusters earning $50,000 to $74,999 and $75,000 to $99,999 remained largely unchanged throughout the given period, at slightly more than 20 million in 2007 and just under 15 million in 2011. The category of $75,000 to $99,000, however, shows a minuscule rise in 2015 to touch 15 million. The last group of those earning more than $100,000 fluctuated over time. It started with little less than 30 million families in 2007, then dips to nearly 26 million in 2011. And by 2015, it reached 34 million dwellings, exceeding all others overall.
The diagram below shows the floor plan of a public library 20 years ago and how it looks now. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features, and make comparisons where relevant.
The Central Library's current layout and its configuration from 20 years ago are depicted on the two maps. Over the years, there have been an extensive number of upgrades and modifications. 20 years ago, the library's front door opened immediately into a room surrounded by different sections and tables and seats. The left side of the library had a reading room for newspapers and magazines in the bottom left corner and CDs, videos, and computer games in the top left corner. Adult fiction novels were arranged centrally on the left, next to these categories. The adult non-fiction books were positioned in the center of the library's right side, while children's books were located in the top right corner. A ticket and book return inquiry counter was located in the lower right corner. The Central Library's contemporary layout has undergone a substantial remodeling, although the entrance is still conveniently positioned. The most significant modification is the addition of self-service kiosks and a cafe in the bottom right corner. There are now couches in the upper left corner as well as a space set aside for storytelling events. Below this, a computer room has been added to the lower left corner to highlight digital resources. Together with all reference books, children's fiction novels are now located in the center area. A lecture room currently occupies the top right corner on the right side. Adult fiction books are still located in the middle right section, but an information desk has been added.
Before we move on to the next video, tell us if you liked our video so far. You can enroll in our online courses and discover how to ace the test, build a strong vocabulary, get additional writing and speaking templates. Learn from the ready-made samples, practice with expert supervision, and much more.
We can create a customized course tailored to your specific areas of improvement. If you want to focus only on speaking and writing, we can design a course just for you. All practice is done using original Cambridge IELTS practice papers. You will receive immediate feedback during the class itself.
The graph below shows the average monthly change in the prices of 3 metals during 2014. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features, and make comparisons where relevant.
The line graph illustrates the average monthly percentage change in prices of copper, nickel, and zinc throughout 2014. Overall, all three metals experienced initial declines followed by varying degrees of recovery in the latter half of 2014. At the beginning of the year, copper prices showed a steep decline from about 6% in January to around -3% by June. Nickel prices experienced a similar downward trend from roughly 2% to -2% over the same period. Zinc prices also dropped from 1% to about -1% but remained relatively stable compared to the other metals. From June onwards, copper and nickel prices fluctuated but generally trended upwards. Copper prices recovered to approximately 1% by December, while nickel prices stabilized around 1% after reaching a low of -3% in July. Zinc prices also saw a rise towards the end of the year, peaking at about 3% in December.
Thank you for watching this video. We hope you found it helpful. Let us know what other videos you would like to see.
We offer one-on-one courses for academic and general training. You can design your own course, depending on what you require. You can join the intensive course to build up vocabulary and practice for several hours under guidance of master trainer. Or book a shorter, 10-hour course to understand the test format and practice. Write to us and ask for a free trial class.
Subscribe to our channel and let us know in the comments what other videos you want. We will be happy to help.
Write to us at contact@ieltsclassesonline.com.